Clothes without boundaries. Gender-neutral dress through time. Throughout history, clothing has not always been strictly divided along gender lines. In many cultures, practical garments transcended binary classifications. Ancient civilizations often utilized simple tunics or robes as a base for both men and women. These garments, while similar in design, were often accessorized differently to denote social status or personal style. This demonstrates that even when clothing was seemingly uniform, individuals still found ways to express themselves beyond rigid gender norms. Exploring these historical examples allows us to challenge our modern assumptions about what constitutes masculine or feminine attire.
Beyond the binary ancient Egypt's approach to adornment, ancient Egypt offers a fascinating case study in the fluidity of gender expression through adornment. Both men and women in ancient Egypt wore makeup. Kohl, a dark powder used to line the eyes, was a staple for both sexes. This practice was not about conforming to a specific gender presentation, but rather about enhancing one's features and participating in cultural ideals of beauty. Similarly, elaborate jewelry and headdresses were worn by both men and women, signifying status and power rather than gender. The Egyptians' approach to adornment reminds us that concepts of beauty and self-expression can exist outside of binary categories.
East meets West pants, heels, and the global history of fashion. The history of pants and heels reveals the global exchange of ideas and the evolution of garments often associated with specific genders. In many Asian cultures, pants were worn by both men and women for centuries. The practicality of pants for riding horses and engaging in physical labor transcended gender divisions. Heels, now largely associated with femininity in many Western cultures, have a surprising origin. Initially worn by Persian soldiers in the 10th century, heels provided stability while riding. These examples demonstrate how garments can migrate across cultures and evolve in their meaning and association with gender. Understanding the global history of fashion challenges us to question our assumptions about the inherent masculinity or femininity of certain clothing items.
Section 4. The Rise of the Western Ideal. How gender norms became fashion rules. The Western world, particularly during the Victorian era, witnessed the increasing separation of clothing styles along gender lines. The rise of industrial capitalism and the increasing separation of public and private spheres led to stricter codes of dress. Women's clothing became more restrictive, emphasizing a small waist and a full skirt, while men's clothing emphasized functionality and simplicity. This separation was not merely about aesthetics, but reflected and reinforced societal expectations about gender roles. Women, increasingly relegated to the domestic sphere, were expected to dress in ways that emphasized their femininity and fragility, while men's clothing reflected their roles as breadwinners and participants in the public sphere.
Section 5. Reclaiming the Narrative. Challenging Gender Stereotypes in Dress. Contemporary fashion is witnessing a pushback against rigid gender norms. Designers are increasingly blurring the lines between menswear and womenswear, offering clothing and accessories that transcend traditional binary classifications. This shift reflects a growing awareness of the diverse ways in which people express their gender identities. Furthermore, individuals are embracing styles that challenge conventional notions of what is considered masculine or feminine. Men are increasingly incorporating skirts and dresses into their wardrobes, while women are embracing traditionally masculine silhouettes. This reclaiming of fashion as a tool for self-expression challenges us to move beyond outdated stereotypes and embrace a more inclusive approach to dress.
Section 6. Fashion Forward, using history to create a more inclusive future. By understanding the historical fluidity of gender expression in clothing, we can work towards a more inclusive and equitable future. The fashion industry can play a crucial role in this endeavor by continuing to challenge traditional gender binaries and offering diverse representations of beauty and style. Consumers can also contribute to this shift by making conscious choices about the clothing they purchase and the messages they choose to convey through their personal style. Ultimately, by embracing the fluidity of gender expression in fashion, we can create a more inclusive and accepting world for all.